Okay. I need y'all to hold all questions until I'm done this real quick, because I want to show something in Revelation 17. All right. All right. I need you to start at the first verse, Jeremiah 17. Revelation 17. I'm going to turn off the chat for a moment so I can go through this so we can all get it. Revelation 17, and I need you to get 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. A few weeks back, we broke down the son of perdition that needed to be revealed. All right? Now we showed you that son of perdition was Amalek, or the Jewish powers that are actually behind the Masonic orders, and those that are following the Talmud and the satanic doctrine over in Israel today. They are the sons of perdition. Now, if you noticed, years back, there was a video called The True Name of the Most High in Christ. In that video, we showed you how the Jewish powers under the Masoretes injected the name of their God into all biblical literature. All right? So that the masses would be tricked into calling their God, who is the fallen one. We broke down the name of Yah, which means a God or a power. And we broke down the name Hava or Hova, which means ruin, mischief, wickedness, very wickedness. So Yahovah or Jehovah is the God of wickedness or ruin and mischief. Hova is another name also that Jay-Z used, Hova. He's a Mason who follows Satan. So they injected the name Yahovah or Jehovah in the scripture to deceive the masses into following Satan. Now, but you would need to know the Hebrew to understand this. Now, in St. John 8:44, Christ told the Pharisees and told those at that time that ye are of your father, the devil. You are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. You were a murderer in the beginning. To show you they had the same spirit of Cain to kill their brother. And he says, you are a liar and the father of lies, and the truth is not in you. So Christ not only identified who he was speaking of, he also said that these people are the father of lies. And in Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, it tells us that son must be revealed in its time. So while we're looking for one man as an antichrist, it's really a nation of a family that's the Antichrist in the earth. It's not one man. They're the father of lies. I'm going to show you. Hold Thessalonians 2. You got that too? Mm-hmm. And go to St. John 8 and 44. You got that? Hold that and get Revelations 3 and 9. Okay. I need you to read St. John 8 and 44 first.
St. John chapter 8 verse 44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning.
So now he's given an indicator or a specific attribute of whom he was speaking to. Now, also in the classes, we went into the fact that the majority of the Sanhedrin were set up through Gentiles. And you had who you would call Romans and Grecians, who were placed in the temple as Pharisees instead of the children of Israel. That happened during the time of Julius Caesar. So Herod set up Gentiles, or the same people of whom you would call Jewish people today, Amalek. They were set up as Pharisees during Christ's time. So Christ was speaking to them, saying, ye are of your father the devil, the lust of your father ye will do. Ye were a murderer in the beginning. Read.
And abode not in the truth.
And you abode not in the truth. So the people that Yeshua was speaking to here will have a system based on lies. So what happens if these same people Christ is talking to become they become the authority over your history. They become the authority over your understanding. They become the authority of your education. That means if these people that Christ is speaking to get in charge, the whole world will be a product of lies. Read.
He was a murderer from the beginning.
He was a murderer from the beginning. That means this man will slay his brother like Cain slayed his brother. A murderer in the beginning. So he would have the spirit of Cain. Read.
And abode not in the truth.
And abode not in the truth. That means they have a system built on lies. Read.
Because there is no truth in him.
So there is no truth in him. Now suppose this man or nation that the Most High is speaking of here, this was placed in charge of the earth. Everything that would come from them through media, through politics, through education, everything they promote would be lies. Everything. Read.
When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own.
When he speaketh of a lie, he speaketh of his own. So when he speaks of himself, it's a lie. And I'm going to show you that too. Read.
For he is a liar and the father of it.
That means the man that the Lord is speaking of here is the father of lies. They sit around and create lies to give society. Hold up, get Revelations 3 and 9 and read that real quick. Hold everything you have and read Revelations 3 and 9.
Revelations chapter 3 verse 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie.
But do what?
But do lie.
So now Christ is identifying whom he was speaking with. Read Revelations 3 and 9 again.
Revelations chapter 3 verse 9. Excuse me. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan.
I will make them of the synagogue of Satan.
Which say they are Jews.
Revelations 3 and 9. Read it.
Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie.
Which say they are Jews and are not, but what?
But do lie.
They do what?
But do lie.
But do lie. This who Christ was speaking to before he was crucified. Those that will be claiming to be Jews and are not, but do lie. Read.
Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thee.
Before it's over, those same nations, the Jewish powers, will come and worship before the true believers in Christ. Read.
I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
See that? So he's identifying the Jewish powers who are in charge today. So through their education, through their media, they have lied to the whole world. But they're the father of lies. And when they speak of a lie, they speak of their own. So when they say they're Jewish or Jews, they're lying. And see, the deception is we cannot figure out who the son of perdition is because they are behind the education that's teaching the people. They're behind the theology that's being taught in your churches. Why? They have the money. So they finance doctrine. So they finance these guys who came up with the movie Left Behind. They finance that. So that they can reflect all blame. So that they'll have you out there chasing a man while they are executing the rule as Antichrist within the earth. And have you every other year looking for another man to pop up as an Antichrist. They finance that. If they can keep you busy looking for a boogeyman, they can continue to deceive and destroy the world. So that man of sin had to be revealed. We had to reveal in our time who Christ was speaking of at that time. Now, how do we know that it's not just one man? Let's go to 1 John. Herald everything you have. And let's go to 1 John. That's not too far from Revelations if you all are following us here. All right? And I need you to go to the 2nd chapter in the 18th verse.
1 John chapter 2 verse 18.
Read.
Little children, it is the last time.
Little children, it is the last time. Read.
And as ye have heard that the Antichrist shall come.
So you have heard that the Antichrist shall come. Read.
Even now are there many Antichrists.
Oh, there will? Oh, there what?
Even now are there many Antichrists.
So you've heard that an Antichrist shall come. But Paul said, John is saying here, even now, there's what?
Even now are there many Antichrists.
How many?
Many Antichrists.
So if there's many Antichrists, why are we waiting for one? Why are we so adamant to focus on the one and not the many? Why? Because they would rather you focus on the one. All that propaganda they putting out in the news about a temple being built and one Antichrist going to be there, who you think are promoting that media out there to keep that doctrine going? The father of lies. You will not get any information that the Jewish powers did not want you to see, because they control media and they control the doctrines of the earth. This is what they control. So while they have you chasing Antichrist, they're exercising the spirit of Antichrist within the earth. They're controlling the money and the media. They control doctrine. They're the people that gave the Christians a doctrine to say that the Israelites are done away with and to uphold them as the Israelites and the Jews. They did that. They're the ones that funded the slave trades. They did that. It was their ports and their ships. And the slavery financed them to power. They did that. They're the liars, and it tell you their hierarchy is the liars and father of lies. I was sitting next to a rabbi the other day. He's supposed to be a teacher. Rabbi means teacher, like a master teacher. I'm from the tribe of Judah according to Scripture, and according to the Bible, we would come over in cargo slave ships. That's who we are. I mean, can you tell the people who you are? Oh, I'm from the tribe of Judaism. And see, and he was smug about it because he don't care if people know now, because they have accomplished what they set out to accomplish in the earth. They have set up the UN armies, and now they own the power of the earth. They own all the weapons. So they don't care if people reveal them now. Okay? And let's go to Thessalonians real quick. We're at 2 Thessalonians. 2 Thessalonians here. The second chapter, start at the first verse.
2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 1. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yeshua Christ, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us,
Go ahead.
as that day of Christ is at hand.
Go ahead.
Let no man deceive you by any means.
Let no man deceive you by any means, especially the powers that are out there today that are controlling doctrine. Even the popes, the majority of the popes are all from the same stock, the Roman stock. The Roman Catholics, or the Romans, are all from the same seed. They're all from the same seed. They're all Romans. So there's no difference between Catholics and Jewish people. They're the same people with the same agenda, and they keep their bloodlines and families separate from the rest of the bloodlines of the earth. Read.
Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there be a falling away first.
So Israel had to fall away first. That happened in 70 AD when God's people fell. What they tell you in church, well, there had to be a big falling away of the church. That makes no sense. I can't grasp that. Okay? When the Roman Empire was destroying Jerusalem, they wasn't aiming towards a church. They was aiming towards the children of Israel living in Jerusalem. So that falling away happened when the Romans came and took down Jerusalem under Vespasian and his son Titus in 70 AD. Read.
And that man of sin be revealed.
That man of sin be revealed. Read.
The son of perdition.
Now here's the key. The son of perdition. When you go into the Greek and look at the definition or the meaning of son of perdition. Now mind you, Christ told him in St. John 8:44, ye are of your father the devil. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. You were a murderer from the beginning. These are the lobbyists of the earth that are behind the chemtrails, that are behind the murder, the mass genocide. These are the people that are behind the eugenics program of vaccinations. Murder is part of their DNA, the spirit of Cain. So some people might ask, well, what people would want to do this? We are identifying them. The reason you can't identify them is you're still looking for one man to do it while they're doing it every day. You're still looking for an antichrist. You've been deceived. The antichrist is operating. What verse you in?
Verse 3.
Let's look at that son of perdition in verse 3. And in the Greek, that's 684. And name the name in Greek. Apolia.
Apolia.
Say that again.
Apolia.
Apolia.
Mm-hmm. Read the
when you look at Apolia, let's see what it means in Greek. Apolia. Read.
From a presumed derivative of G622. Ruin or
loss. It means what?
Ruin or loss.
So it means these are ruin or loss. Ruin is one of the names of Jehovah, the God of Jehovah. Ruin, mischief, So the Son is just like the Father. Fallen one. So when you look at that YHWH, who you think promoted the YHWH or Tetragrammaton all over the earth? The people that Christ says are of their father, the devil. They push the Tetragrammaton. Why? To have you calling on their God instead of your God. What's the definition of apolia again?
Ruin or loss.
Ruin or loss. Read.
Damnable.
Damnable.
Destruction.
Destruction. This is, now we're looking at the attributes of this son of perdition. You have to go into the Greek and read what they mean. Read.
Die.
Die.
Perdition.
Perdition.
Perish.
Perish.
Pernicious ways.
Pernicious ways.
Waste.
Waste. They parallel their father, Jehovah or Yahweh, the God of wickedness. So while you're looking at for one man, they are executing the rule, government, and religious structure of the Antichrist within the earth. They trick people into thinking that it was one man instead of an entire agenda. A governmental agenda under Satan. Who did this? The Roman Catholic Church did this also. They said in doctrine, we have to now, before we set off our plan, we have to put in doctrine that there's one man that would come, so that the people don't focus on government. They will not focus on us, they will focus on this one man. Therefore, whatever the government do, you cannot blame on them. Because you're still looking for an antichrist. You don't think Satan is in your government or in your church. That was quite deceptive. But when you go into the Greek, the Son means the exact thing as the Father. Now go to Revelations. I need you to hold 2nd Esdras. You at 2nd Thessalonians?
Mm-hmm.
Finish reading in 2nd Thessalonians. Read.
Verse 4. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High.
He exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High. So these people are really over the Most High's people. They're the ones that finance the slave trades. I went into that book, The Secret Relationship Between the Jews, the secret relationship between the blacks and Jews. They were really behind the slave trades. They financed the whole thing. And see, they were so deceptive. Look at what they did. And when slavery was abolished, instead of giving the jobs to the really the professionals who knew the trade, which were the slaves, they couldn't do that. Okay, the blacksmiths couldn't have their own business. What they did was they opened up Europe and allowed many Europeans to come in, so that the slaves can now work for the Europeans. And then the Jewish people came up with the KKK and started initiating people into this new group. And no one was pointing to them. Everyone was pointing to the immigrants that came over into the New World, and no one was pointing to the people who financed the immigrants to come in and start racial tensions between the black slaves who were let free. The unseen hand. And they created KKK, the same people, the son of perdition, the Jewish powers. They created the Ku Klux Klan. So that we'll be fighting against each other, blacks and whites, when really they are the culprits behind the whole thing. Read.
Verse 4. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High.
Go ahead.
Showing himself that he is the Most High. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you I told you these things? And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time.
So that he might be revealed in his time. Read.
Verse 7. For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. Only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way.
Until he be taken out of the way. So the Most High is allowing him to rule until he take him out. So they know they have a short time, so they're looking at mass extermination within the earth. They're doing everything to bite down on God's people and to destroy God's people before the coming of Christ. That's what this whole thing is about. We talking about the New World Order and all these things. Let me tell you, we can't control the chemtrails. We can't control anything that's happening. We should even be spending our minds on all these things. We got to spend our mind on the salvation of Christ and focusing on Christ. We cannot change what's going on in this earth. We cannot change it. This is what they're doing. The only thing we can do is expose them. Because it tells you that Christ will not come back until that son of perdition be revealed. We must reveal who it is. They've been hiding for so long. Read.
Verse 7. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord,
Oh man, the Most High just shows something that's. Do you see this, man?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see this?
Mm-hmm.
The name of perdition that's in Thessalonians.
Mm-hmm.
The bottomless pit, whose name was in Hebrew tongue Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue had a name, Apollyon.
Mm-hmm.
Apollyon is the same as perdition. So this is the king over the whole earth. It's talking about the Jewish powers. And that's the breakdown in Revelations. Because it tell you
mm-hmm.
that after the 1,000 years shall ascend out of the bottomless pit.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Revelation 17. I mean, the Most High be on the Sabbath. He be revealing things as we go. I mean, I've been looking into this chapter so long, and I was wondering, who is Abaddon and who is Apollyon?
Right. Usually attribute the bottomless pit to Satan.
Yeah, because they show in these movies
mm-hmm.
how something is going to be released from hell and it's a demon. And they don't equate it to the fact that John was actually looking at visions in his sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But he was showing things that would play out on the earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, verse 17 and 1 clear it up.
And Revelation 17 clears it. Yeah.
13, Revelation 13.
Revelation 13 and 1 clears it up. Let's go to Revelation 13. Looking at that meaning in the Greek is really revealing the son of perdition. Revelations 13 and 1. Let's read it.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea. So this speaks about the bottomless pit.
Exactly.
That's what it's speaking about.
When it says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise out of the sea, it's talking about an empire coming out of the bottomless pit.
Mm-hmm.
We can show that in Revelation 17.
Mm-hmm.
But keep going.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns.
So this beast having 7 heads and 10 horns, showing you what? The 7 mountains that would sit on Rome, and the 10 horns were the European powers that came out of Rome. Read.
And upon his head 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority.
And his seat and great authorities. That means these empires are getting their authority from Satan himself. Read.
Verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death.
Now, when was Rome wounded? In 193 AD. That's when Rome was wounded. It's talking about the Roman Empire falling. So it didn't die off like that rabbi told us the other day. I asked the rabbi what happened to the Roman Empire. He said, well, I think they just died off. No, they was wounded so that they can actually restructure themselves and morph themselves into society so that no one can recognize them and destroy them in the future. Their structure didn't work the first time. They were wounded, so they had to redo themselves. Read.
And his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast.
And all the world wondered after the beast. It's still talking about the Roman Empire. Read.
And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast.
So when they were set up, they made all the people in their government worship Satan who gave them their power. So if you're getting any religion that's accepted through your government, you're worshiping the beast or Satan who gave the beast power. So that's why when the Masoretes were set up and our people fell, they injected the Yahweh into the text so that the people would worship their God instead of the God of the Hebrews. Read.
And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
Go ahead.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High.
He opened his mouth in blaspheme against God. Now you have to see some of the blasphemies written of in the Talmud. I had a rabbi tell me that they follow the Talmud. The Talmud is Babylonian, straight blaspheme against the Most High himself. Read.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High, to blaspheme his name, and his
And to do what?
And to blaspheme his name.
So they will give you Satan's name all through text. They will blaspheme the Most High's name. They will never give you the real name. And the name that our people are calling on all over the earth is the name that was given them through the Tetragrammaton. Through them. Read.
And it was given unto him to make war with the saints. Verse 6. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High, to blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in the earth. And it was given unto him...
And them that dwell in heaven.
Them that dwell in heaven.
Started blaspheming the heavenly realm too, the angelic realm. Read.
And it was given unto him to make war with the saints.
So it was given we know who made war with the saints, the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire warred against the disciples. They warred against the martyrs. They warred against Jerusalem in 70 AD. So this is pointing who they are, to who they are. So the Jewish powers are actually the Romans. They are the Romans. Let's go to Revelation 17. Whew. Start at the first verse.
Revelations chapter 17, verse 1. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. 7
heads and 10 horns, linking straight to the Roman Empire again. They sat on 7 mountains. Read.
Verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with the gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
And as you can see, a lot of this represents what you would see today in the Roman Catholic Church. You have the bishops, the cardinals, and you have the Pope holding the golden cup. And I'm going to tell you this, that was a plan too. They purposely dressed the Roman Catholic Church in what we're reading here so that everyone can focus on them instead of the Jewish powers who are ruling the earth. The Roman Catholic Church is just what you would call the ritualistic part of the hierarchy, or part of what they believe in their agenda. They're just one part. But they're not the governmental and monetary part of it. They're just the religious part of it. So everyone is focusing on the Roman Catholic Church while the Jewish powers are executing the rest. They are one in the same. If you listen, you can look at all the legislation that's being pushed in America right now, and you will see Barack Obama signing all these legislations and all these things into law, and you have people in black, Jewish people in black, behind him while he's signing all these things into law. They're really controlling the whole earth. Right now, the Pope today is from Rome. He's also Jewish. They have an agenda in the earth. And they've hid themselves because no one can point to them as Romans now. Read.
Verse 5. And upon her forehead was written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots.
Mystery, Babylon the Great, mother of harlots. Read.
And abominations of the earth.
Read.
And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints.
That's the Romans. Read.
And with the blood of the martyrs of Yeshua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
So he wondered with great admiration. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel?
Why are you marveling? Go ahead.
I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath 7 heads and 10 horns. Verse 8. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not.
The beast, which is the Roman power, or the Roman Empire, was, and is not. Read.
And shall ascend out of the bottomless pit.
And shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Now we know who will ascend out of the bottomless pit. Hold that and go to Revelations 20. Read the first verse.
Revelations chapter 20, verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent which is the devil, and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed a little season.
So this is future tense. When Christ returns, he will bound Satan for 1,000 years. That's giving Christ his dominion and 1,000 years of peace. And after the 1,000 years, he'll be loosed to deceive the nations in the earth after his 1,000-year reign. But don't forget, Christ says, Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. So the future tense of what will happen to the Satan himself happened to his child. Happened to the Roman Empire. They was wounded, went into perdition, and then they came back after 1,000 years and deceived the world. They came back after 1,000 years with a whole new program and deceived the nations. Let's go back to Revelations where we were.
Revelations chapter 17, verse 8.
17 and 8. Read it.
The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition.
And that's the period they called the Dark Ages. That was the perdition, the son of perdition. They went into perdition. The Roman Empire was wounded and came back as the Roman Catholic Church and the Jewish powers that rule today. And their mission was to be the father of lies, to deceive the nations like Christ said they would. Read on.
And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder.
And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder what?
Whose names were not written in the book of life.
That's why they don't care about existence. That's why they don't care about killing off the fish, killing off the birds, killing off the creation. That's why they don't care about killing little babies and abortions. That's why they don't care about eugenics. Why? Because they know they're not written in the book. They know there's a future judgment for them. So because the Most High have this judgment for them, they're looking to destroy all of creation. Read on.
And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world.
Why are the people wondering? Because they don't know. These people have hid themselves. When they were Romans, everyone knew who they were. The Romans kept their families separate, but their agenda was before the world. So you can point to your enemy back then. But they had 1,000 years to perfect their lies and their plan to take over the whole earth. Read.
When they beheld the beast that was,
the beast that was, the Roman Empire,
and is not.
And is not. Why? Because no one can point to where the Romans are anymore. Read.
And yet is.
But yet it is. They are living, but they're living under another name. They're your kings, queens, and princes of this earth. They're your governmental structure in Europe. They're your governmental structure ruling from Israel or Capernaum, where Satan's seat is, till this day. We have identified the sons of perdition. The churches are still deceived because they're waiting for one Antichrist to come. They're waiting for somebody to pop up in Jerusalem and be the Antichrist. Totally ridiculous. That's total deception. Read on.
Verse 9. And here is the mind which hath wisdom.
Here's the mind that have wisdom. That means everyone is not going to understand this. Those that are wise will understand. Read.
The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the horse sitteth.
Everyone know that Rome sits on 7 mountains. Read.
Verse 10. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come.
And the other that haven't come at that time was what? America. All the other empires in Europe stood, but the one that didn't come at this time during John's time would be America. Read.
And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space.
So America's empire is shorter than all the other empires that preceded it. Read.
And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th.
He's the 8th. Read.
And is of the 7.
And he is of the 7. Read.
And goeth into perdition.
And goeth into perdition. And goeth into perdition. Going back to this perdition word, linking back to one people. The sons of perdition. So who is the people that set up America? They were Masons. Who's behind the Masonic order for the last empire? The Jewish powers. So everyone have been deceived. Doesn't matter what color you are. Whether you're black, white, Asian, everyone have been deceived in this earth. Read.
Verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet.
That's talking about the 10 kingdoms that are left that originally helped Rome. Read.
But receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
So they will have power at the last end with the beast. Why? Because America jumped over the 10 horns and got their power. So eventually the 10 horns, which are Europe, is going to separate themselves from the whore whose deadly womb was healed as America. So don't forget, it says that she was riding a scarlet colored beast and the beast carried her. So it went from Rome to the last beast, which is America. So the 10 horns will soon separate themselves from her. Now, guess what? The Jewish people know this. They don't care. They utilize America for their will. And then now they're starting to pull all their people out of America, and all the Jewish powers are going back into Israel. They have a campaign within the last 5 years saying, come back home to Israel. They knew that the judgment would come down on America, but they used America for its purpose. But now, America's purpose has been assumed, and America is not needed anymore. So now they look into war and go against America to dry it up, to take all the resources before the judgment. They're going to move all their people out. They've been doing it already. Because they know the next judgment in prophecy comes with the 10 horns, which is the EU or Europe. They financially run the UN, and they financially run the EU also. If you travel in Europe, you'll see them every place. Travel to France, travel to England, you'll see them, and they're all black with their hats on every place. Read on.
Verse 13.
13.
These have one mind.
They have one mind, talking about the 10 horns. Go ahead.
And shall give power and strength unto the beast.
Go ahead.
These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called, and chosen, and faithful. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate, and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and shall burn her with fire.
So the 10 horns, which are Europe, will also be part of the destruction of America. She was carried over on a scarlet-colored beast, and America became the new Rome, which is the last beast. The empire that did not come, that he was speaking about. Read.
Verse 17. For the Most High put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and to give their kingdom unto the beast, and to the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth.
That's also a physical identification. That reigneth over the kings of the earth. And we know who that is, the great superpower of the earth. But judgment is coming. So while you're waiting for that man of sin, or waiting for the Antichrist, you're being killed through all their chemical and biological weapons. You're being destroyed by the Antichrist as we speak. A new grid is about to be put in place, total electronic monetary system that's ruled by the Rothschilds and all the Jewish powers that rule the earth. So we need to snap out of this one-man Antichrist thing. And I also want to go into Revelations 9 when it talks about Abaddon or Apollyon coming out of the bottomless pit. Apollyon also links to perdition. It's talking about the Jewish powers, the people who are of their father, the devil. Well, that's a prelude into what I wanted.